All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you from Kyiv, Ukraine. First, apologies for coming out uh, later than usual. We had to fix some technical issues here, but I'm excited that we're here. Well, it's day 16, and we are continuing our journey profiling the life-transforming testimonies of the disciples, mentees, and followers of Dr. Sunday, who have been able, for the amount of years they've been listening to him, reading his books, watching his videos, have gone through transformation in their minds, in their lives, and already have some fruits to show to the world. And I'm excited today that we have a guest from Nigeria. But before I introduce our guest, I would like to encourage all of our viewers watching us. Thank you first for joining today, and please kindly share this video to your friends, your family members, to everybody they want to join today's program, because it's going to be an interesting discussion, as it has been for the past 15 days. So today is day 16, and we are on for the whole month. So we just actually right at the center. Yesterday was day 15, today is day 16, so we're just beginning the second half of this whole testimony. So please kindly share it on your timeline, suggest it to your friends, and let's get ready for today's testimony. If you missed yesterday's testimony, you just have to go back. We had Pastor Tuka all the way from Maryland in the United States, and it was on fire. It was on fire. He spoke about how he withdrew from the pulpit to serve God. That was explosive, and not just his own, but we've had actually amazing and unique discussions for the past 15 days. And if you want to watch the previous episodes or the previous videos that we've done on this Life Transforming Testimonies Marathon to celebrate Dr. Sunday's 53rd birthday, the way to do that is to go to YouTube and search for Dr. Sunday Adelaja on YouTube. That is his YouTube channel, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. And just search for the playlist Life Transforming Testimonies. You're going to see all of the previous testimonies that people have come and have shared, that has inspired a lot of people. People are blessed. We're getting feedbacks, and we're excited that Dr. Sunday decided to share his birthday with all of these phenomenal people who have testimonies and who have journeys, and who have come to the platform to share their experiences, to share their testimonies with us, to inspire us, to motivate us, to encourage us, and to let us know that we also can achieve greatness. Well, without further ado, I have a guest, a beautiful lady all the way from Nigeria. Don't believe my word. Just wait to see her when she comes on screen. Then you know that I'm definitely not flattering her. Well, we have the title today of the discussion: DSA's teaching was my path to freedom. Well, I would like to welcome Ms. Victoria Ann to today's program. Good evening to you, Victoria.
Good evening, Dr. Anu. Good evening, Dr. Anu, and everyone.
You're very much welcome. I said it to our viewers that when I said we have a beautiful guest, a beautiful lady from Lagos, Nigeria, I told them not to believe me. They should just wait to see you. And then when they see you, they would agree that you're definitely beautiful. So we're giving you that compliment. I'm sure that they will be writing in the comments that I did not tell a lie. That of course you're beautiful. And I'm sure you're very modest.
I'm blushing. Thank you.
Yeah, you look awesome. Well, thank you for being here with us today. We're looking forward to actually hearing your testimony, because for you to say that DSA's teaching was your path to freedom, somehow I feel like this might be a peculiar story of yours, a peculiar experience of yours. But even as peculiar as it is, I strongly want to believe that there are many people who also would have the same, kind of conclusion as you have, that DSA's teaching, created that path to freedom for them also. But of course, you're here today. We want to hear your story. We want to hear your experience. We want to hear your challenges. We want to hear your victories. And we are hoping that at least one person at the end of our discussion today will be inspired and motivated by your story. But first, we would like to meet you. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Okay, yes, my name is Victoria Ann, and I'm from Imo State, Nigeria. Yeah, so but I'm based in Lagos. I'm a fashion designer.
Your wearing is part of your product, or maybe not.
Well, not really.
Not really. Awesome,
Nah, it's
awesome.
not.
Great. So first, let's start with, how is Lagos, Nigeria today?
Well, I would say Lagos, Nigeria is very hot for the weather. The weather is very hot today. Yeah, but with the ease of lockdown and everything, at least you're able to, you know, move from one place to another. Yeah, it's just the usual hustle and bustle of Lagos. Yeah.
Boston of Lagos. Well, there's a common saying that anyone who can survive, in Lagos, can survive in any place, in any part of the world. So if you're able to make it happen in Lagos, Nigeria, then you have what it takes to survive in any part of the world. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I can say I agree with that because one thing about living in Lagos is that the first thing that I think is peculiar to Lagos is, the bustle and all that. So you have to be very agile as a person. So, everybody is always in a rush and in a hurry. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where you're going, as in you're not moving fast. Even when you're driving, everybody is in a hurry. People will bash your car, you know, and being in Lagos, you have to be very security conscious and very careful. I mean, Lagos is just a wonderful place. Yeah. But at the same time, it has its downs too because you can't really have that peace and quiet. Most people in Lagos are just like we are just here to hustle and for the business, for the work and all that. But if you really want to have peace of mind, you can't stay in Lagos. When it comes to the security, when it comes to, I mean, it's just a place. It's just a place that you just have to be ready. You have to be ready for work to be able
Yeah.
to stay in Lagos. You have to be ready for work. Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure our viewers will be thinking that how come you're able to how come you're able to survive and go through the whole Lagos bustle. Were you born and raised in Lagos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was born and raised in Lagos actually. Yes, I was born in Lagos and I was raised in Lagos. Yeah, and the first time I can say I actually lived somewhere else other than Lagos was when I traveled to other states. I traveled to Imo States, and um I when I arrived in Imo State, I could just see the first thing I think I experienced was the peace. I mean the peace and quiet. At least everybody was just, yeah, at least there's still like a bit of movement here and there. But in Lagos, it's like thousands of people are trying to move at the same time. So there's just this peace that comes with living in other parts of Nigeria. Aside from Lagos, I can say Lagos and maybe Abuja and Ibadan. Those three places. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. We're excited to have you
I was
from.
born in Lagos, so I didn't really have to struggle.
Okay, so you didn't have to struggle.
Yeah,
So that means you're a proper
thank you.
Lagos girl then.
I can say that. I can say that.
All right, all right. Well, I'm sure you see excitement that always comes to Dr. Sunday and everybody, when we have people who are calling us from Nigeria, particularly because that is the future. Nigeria is the future, and everything we're doing, is just crazy. How everything we're doing right now is just towards the future that we see for Nigeria. So we're always excited when we have a Nigerian who is either calling us or giving us a report or telling us about what is happening in Nigeria. It's always exciting to receive Nigerians on the platform who are in Nigeria. Of course, we have Nigerians who call us all over the world. But when you are on ground, and you're also part of the DSA family, we're always excited. And we're definitely looking forward to hearing from you today, your story, and many more. But if you don't mind, can you start by sharing with us what life was, Victoria's journey, or who Victoria was before meeting Dr. Sunday? Maybe you could start with your background. Maybe you could start with your, personal journey. Maybe your Christian journey. Just give us some insight into Victoria, if you don't mind.
Okay, Victoria. Yeah, before I met Pastor Sunday, I can say that I was just just normal. I was just a normal girl, a normal person. You know, I didn't even understand life. I didn't know what life was about. I didn't know anything about. I was just existing. I can say that because being from the kind of family I was born into, the average Christian family, you know, um, um, in Lagos here. I mean, just there was just nothing really special. I didn't used to see myself as a special candidate or as a special person. I can There was no way I could, differentiate myself from other people or other ladies or other girls because I just didn't know who I was. So I just saw myself as, yeah, I just, okay, how old are you now? This is my age. This is my age already. So this is like where I should be going. Okay, what happens? You have to get some level of education. You have to come out from school. You have to get something doing. You have to get married. You have to be going to church. You know, and I was a very strong member of RLCCG. I was a chorister. Yeah, so that was like my own level of relationship with God at the time, before I met Pastor Sunday. So I just was this religious Sunday girl, going to church, going for choir practice, raising the holy hands, paying the tithes, paying the offering, but yeah, but despite all that, I can say that I am a very special person because even during those days of my ignorance and just living as a normal person, I still had lots of questions, coming up in my heart then. I can say I actually like started questioning myself maybe when I turned like 14 or 13. I was just very I used to question myself like, okay, um about God, about a lot of things, but I used to just, snap them out of my head. Like I didn't understand that it was okay for me to think. I didn't even see that as thinking at the time because I can say that at that time I was just very ignorant. So seeing what every other person is doing and doing it, I mean, Pastor Adeboye was there to guide us. I mean, so when I'm asking questions, okay, I'm going to like confess now, for example, when I'm asked to pray, especially in church, in that church setting, okay, after the introduction of the prayer, they say people should start praying. I usually I usually get very lost because I can't really feel that connection. So I can see people doing that holy thing, doing the attitude as if the Holy Ghost. And I used to ask myself, that, why am I the only one not feeling this Holy Ghost? When I'm leading the praise and worship, I was just like a good actress because I mean I have to put my face in a certain way. Yes. So I was just that person.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that mood of worship, that's the word. So there was no person, there was no relationship with God at all. So I was just normal. I mean, and I used to think that maybe I was Satan's child because I should be feeling what every other person is seeing and feeling. And I don't think I have to be pretending about it, especially when it comes to prayer. I'm able to pray those gibberish. I'm not able to do that for 15 minutes straight. Maybe 3 minutes, I'm already off and I'm waiting for them to end the prayer because I'm not feeling any connection. Yeah, so that was like the state where I was, that state of acting, blending in, going to the church, wearing the choir uniform. Yeah, so that was where I was, in terms of my relationship and Christianity. And then when it comes to my own personal life, I was just um, I was just a normal girl, you know, thinking about it like, okay, right or wrong, these are the things you should do. So there was no sense of of my own life, of my own purpose. I was just there. I was just there. So just living. I mean, so I was getting to a point where I thought, okay, it's time for me to get married. And even about that, I didn't have any plan. Okay, getting married, you just meet a guy, he's God fearing, and yeah. So that was how my life was before I met Pastor Sunday. No sense of direction, no sense of purpose. Yeah, just there. I was just there. I can't even, thinking about it now, it's really a big thing for me because now I've discovered myself, so I can see the difference. And somehow is as though I'm even forgetting what it used to be like, not having that identity, not having that knowledge of self. And when I see other people doing that, when I see other people living that way, it's kind of like it's just like something I can't understand anymore. I can't relate with it anymore. But one thing I just kind of remind myself of is that I was once there. But right now, I can't even imagine that, for for a very long time, more than 20 years of my life, I was just growing up. I was just growing like the normal girl, just getting old. I mean, just nothing. There was really nothing. I can't say there was really anything about myself or about my life.
You, you repeatedly use the word normal, right? And you were saying, because a lot of your description, you were saying you were
Yes.
just living the normal life, normal life, normal life. Well, if it is the normal life, I guess it should be normal. Like, so does it mean that you discovered an abnormal life listening to Dr. Sunday? Would that be accurate?
Ah, okay. So, sorry, when I say normal, I'm using in terms of it's just like a general term.
Yeah.
Like that's where everybody is. Just it's like there's just like this path. Being a Nigerian girl, being a Lagos girl, not just Lagos. Being a Nigerian girl, a Nigerian Christian.
Yeah.
There's this like already made path for you to follow. So, and when you're not following that path, you're not normal. Something is off, something is wrong with you. When you're not going to church, you're not in choir. How can you be a young girl and you're not in any you're not in the choir, you're not in the usher the ushering department, you don't have anything to do with church. So it's either two ways. If you don't have anything to do with the church, then you are with the world. So as a girl, you just have to like pick. Okay, which am I going? Am I going with the world, or am I going with Christianity? So going with Christianity, you know, you're just growing up. I mean, right after your secondary school, you go to school, you go to college, get a degree, come on now, hustle for the job, get the job. As you're getting the job, you're also searching for a husband. And then if you're also lucky, if you're actually a very lucky girl, maybe you're very fine or something, you'll be so lucky and you get married inside university. Like maybe in your second or third year, you're getting suitors. So you get married as a student, you come out, you know. Yeah, so that's just it. And then you get your first, second child, Yeah, so that's the normal life. That's what I'm saying, normal life. That's what it is for the average Nigerian, for the average Nigerian girl. That's what it is. And there's people are not taught about purpose or finding themselves, you know. Yeah.
I was going to
Yeah, so that's
ask
what I
you.
meant by
Yeah, I was going to ask you now. I understand what you're saying, and thank you for even clarifying better. So, I was going to ask you that, okay, the description that you gave, that's like the status quo.
mhm.
That's like the normal and the usual way people live.
Yes.
You giving birth to, you go to primary school, secondary school, you go to college, you go to the university, you study a course, you graduate, you get work, or you get married, you have children. That is like the cycle, right? So, and that is, and I mean, an average
Yes.
person might
Yes.
think, okay, yeah, that's normal. I mean, that's okay. Everybody is doing that. So what is the big deal?
Yeah.
So why you making it, or why you making it even a subject of discussion in the first place? So I'm going to play the devil's advocate, right? And I'm going to ask you that question right now. That with all of the things you described, going to school,
Yeah.
graduating, getting a job, getting a husband or
Mhm.
getting a wife, having children, getting a house. Why are we even discussing about that? That should be the normal way of life. So what is the problem with that?
Yes, there's a problem with that. The problem with that is that you, when you come under Pastor Sunday, when you come under Pastor Sunday's teaching, Pastor Sunday kind of like changes your whole mindset, and you get to understand that we are not meant to live the normal life as Christians. So, we are called for something bigger. We are called for a purpose, and God has given us an assignment on earth that we have to fulfill. So we are all like just like messengers on earth. So we are not like trees. You can say that trees have this cycle. They grow from the seedling, or you put them in the ground, water them, put the sun, and they grow from the seedling into the big tree and bring forth fruit. But we Christians, we are supposed to function like that, but not just in terms of biology, not just biologically, like our fruits are not supposed to be like just getting pregnant and having babies. So we have, and that's why we have a soul, and that's why we have our mind, and that's why we have to connect back to God. And that's the reason why I think that we are not like the normal living organisms. We are different as human beings, because now we have a brain and we have a spirit. So we are supposed to function from that spirit realm. We are supposed to function, with the spirit, function with our mind. So, coming to being born on earth and just following that cycle, like there's nothing special and there's nothing peculiar about it. But following Pastor Sunday kind of like just made me understand how we are meant to function, and how one can actually get fulfillment in life. And that is why I can say for a fact that the average Nigerian youth, we live, not just youth, even old people, we have a lot of bad blood, we have lots of envy and anger towards one another, because we feel like we are like in a competition with one another. Who does this better, who has the bigger house, who has the bigger mansion, whose children are better behaved, because there is no identity. So everybody is living like inside this box. So because we have to fit into that box, you don't get to discover your identity, and not discovering your whole identity, who God has created you to be, what you're meant to, what you're meant to do on earth here. You're just there, and if you're just there, different from like monkeys or pigs or every other animal. And as Christians, since we've been called to take dominion over the world and subdue the earth, so there's actually something bigger than just surviving. Yeah, so coming to Pastor Sunday just changed my whole paradigm to make me understand that I'm not meant to function that way. I'm not meant to live like every other person. I'm a special identity, and that's how we all Christians should be. Yeah, so we are all special. So we all have a unique purpose and a unique calling, and why God has created us. Yeah, so that's it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
Uh-huh.
uh, we're going to continue our discussion, and I'm going to ask you another question. And this question is closely related. It's just going to be an offshoot from some of the things you mentioned here. Uh, you made mention of
Okay.
identity and not knowing people not knowing their identity. Uh, was that I guess that was your situation too before meeting Dr. Sunday, about you not really knowing yourself, not really discovering yourself.
Yes.
That was your own journey, right? So if you don't mind, can you share your own
Yeah, it
journey
was.
in discovering yourself too? What was it like before? What was it like before you even got to discover your identity? And after describing that, I would like you to also talk about um, if it is really a problem in Nigeria amongst maybe the Nigerian youths. But let's first start with your own personal journey on discovering yourself, your identity.
Okay, yes. Discovering myself, I can't really say, because when you think about it, a lot of times, okay, I'll put it this way. Discovering myself for me was like a journey. It was a journey I was going through, and I had no idea that it was happening to me, that I was actually discovering myself, because I've been following the DSA for 3 years already, since 2017. And I can up until 2019 or 2018, towards the end of 2018, I can't really say that I actually, but it had been more than a year since I started following the DSA. So discovering myself for me was something that, it was just like a very gradual process. I can't really say for a fact that I was actually very intentional about it. I only became intentional when I found out that that was what was happening to me. So it was um it was all mixed up for me. It was so problematic for me. Okay, what I can say happened was that being under DSA's umbrella, being under his um under his teachings, kind of, even if not like um very constant. So what happens is that DSA was actually planting seeds in my heart already. So things were going on in my heart, things were happening to me. Um, something was happening to my subconscious. I didn't realize, I knew that change was happening, but I didn't recognize it as change. So I was just like stuck in a state, I was just like in a state of confusion. I was in a state of, I don't know if to say like I was in a mess, but I didn't know what was happening to me. So, because what happened with Pastor Sunday's teachings for me was that, yeah, when I started listening to him, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. So but at the same time, it was kind of like very tough for me to understand, think due to my own level of thinking at the time. Like I said, I was just normal. I was just like the average person. So I mean, the average person already has a preconceived destination, you know, that like destination, like, okay, this is the end of my life, this is the next step after this. So, coming to listen to Pastor Sunday, I couldn't comprehend what he was saying. I agree with what he was saying, but it was too much work. I mean, it was too much work. It meant me changing my whole mindset. It meant that I had to change my whole paradigm. I had to change my way of thinking, my way of functioning. And I mean, it was too difficult for me to comprehend. So what I did, I'm going to confess, what I did was I just kind of like, I was in between. So I was listening, but I didn't want to take it seriously. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're so right. This is wonderful, but maybe it's not for me. Like, are you saying this? Yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, Pastor Sonny. Your teachings are so great, but it's too much. It's too much for me. I think it's only special people that can go through that process. Maybe people like yourself that are really special. But I just want to be. I want to live a quiet life. I want to be normal. I want to just be. I wanted to be normal. Yeah,
Yeah. No, don't get out of
yeah. So
you have to still be in your camera. You just laugh within the camera. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is funny to you, but that's the
Yeah,
truth, because trust me, it's not just your experience. There are many people, who they they appreciate and they notice the truth that Dr. Sunday is teaching. They know that he is teaching the truth. But just like you said you were
yeah,
very honest and very sincere. And your honesty is so profound
mm,
because there are many people like you or who are actually like you now who cannot follow Dr. Sunday, not because he's not teaching the truth, not because they don't recognize the truth, but
yeah,
to be very sincere to many people is hard work. It is too difficult for them. So they will just prefer like what you said, let me just
yes,
continue my normal life, all right? See, so I'm not ready for the stress. I'm not ready for all of the mind shift that must happen. I'm not ready to all of the things I've learned all these years. Now you're just coming and you want me to change everything. No, it's too hard
mm-hmm,
for me to do. So let me just continue with my normal life. So what your experience
yeah,
is not just you, but a lot of people also have that experience. Trust me. But then, what I would like you to even continue with,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Do you have any addition to what I'm saying before I ask another question?
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah. So what was happening to me was that, so because I was aware, because when they say ignorance is actually bliss because you're being ignorant and you're doing nonsense and there's nothing bugging your heart. So but when there is knowledge comes with, yes, knowledge comes with responsibility. So even if I didn't want to live that kind of life, I now know. So because I now know, I was burdened. So I kind of like was feeling guilty. Like, I mean, what am I? What's my purpose? I wanted to know what's my purpose. What am I here for? Maybe it's something that I can actually try. Just as I'm living my normal life, I can put that secondary. Just from time to time, just go fulfill the purpose. Just something by the side. Just put it by the side on a very lighter note. So I was burdened, and because I was burdened, and because I now know better, so I couldn't. I was kind of like restless, and because I know, I kind of like. I mean, I could not stand the religious setting anymore. I could no longer belong to church. At some point, I don't know if I now kind of like developed a personal vendetta with Pastor Adib. Yeah, because um I was not seeing Pastor Adeboye as, I don't know, because he has been like my spiritual father. I'm going to put it that way, like we call it, like my papa. Pastor Adeboye, even if I've not met him, you know, he has been like my personal papa for from my teenage years up until I became adult, because I was born in a Catholic home. So I left the Catholic church when I was 14. So I've been with Adeboye, and I mean, I thought I was practicing Christianity, and I thought I was doing the right thing, and I was close to God. Just coming from time to time, do those things. But under coming on that part of it, I'm now knowing the truth. And I've like started looking at Pastor Debray, like, I didn't want to blame myself now. I didn't want to take the responsibility. So that's another thing. DSA teaches you to take personal responsibility and start from there to change your life. But I still didn't want to do that. So I was looking for people to blame. Like, I mean, why did my own parents know this? I'm sorry, but I kind of like I got there at some point. Like, why did my parents cover themselves? You know, why did um Adeboye was the one that got me into this problem. So I was looking at the external. I didn't want to check within, but at the same time, I couldn't take some nonsenses anymore. I couldn't take some nonsenses like some of the things I was saying in the society, some of the things I was saying in church became a no in, became nothing. I stopped church, so that was it. That there was even no two ways about it. I stopped going to church. So but in the society where I now belong, like in Lagos here, I'm not very much of an outgoing person, but even like within my environment, I started noticing things that were you know upsetting me. I started looking at those things, and they were not right with me. Because I now know. But even in that, even with my knowledge, even with me saying that I was not going to do anything with it, making that saying that thing to myself. But I knew, and knowing for me was like I was put in a prison. Like it was a burden. It was a burden. Like I couldn't live anymore. I couldn't, function. I couldn't. I started to even lose more friends because I didn't really have much friends already, but I came to that point where I was getting all emotional, and I was giving a lot of outbursts. When I see this now, I'm just like screaming out. I've been just saying a lot of things, so people were like staying away from me. Yeah, but discovering myself for me, um, coming to really embrace that was I went through a very major crisis. So going through that crisis for me, it was just like a wake up call, because that crisis came as a result of blocked ears. When I say blocked ears, the truth I now know, because um there's there's a different thing when some things are happening and you're unaware, so you can easily blend and flow with it. But that crisis happened to me as a result of the things I now knew. So because I now know that things are not supposed to be like this thing is not supposed to be like this. So even if I was not embracing it full time, I could not take I could not like bring myself to blend into that problem situation, bring myself down to that level anymore. So because of that, a lot of things had to happen to me. So I got back into my whole, I went back to myself, and I had to start questioning myself. And that was when I made the decision, like, okay, now you have to you have to understand yourself. You have to go back to God. You have to connect to your source. You have to put those people aside. You have to put the world aside. You have to be you and God now. You can't be normal anymore, because you that crisis kind of proved to me that I'm no more normal. And no matter how much I wanted to be normal, I can't be normal anymore. And because I couldn't be normal, I just had no choice. It was like there was no choice for me. Like the arrow was just pointing to one direction, back to God, back to my purpose, back to understanding myself. And DSA was the first run. It was the first person I had to run back to. Like, Pastor Sunday, this is me. Oh, this is your daughter from Nigeria. I mean, I've been listening to you, but I was very stubborn. I was blocked eared. But now I have to. I'm ready. Yeah. So that was it for me. That was how discovering myself happened for me. That was how it happened for me. It just kind of like happened after I was forced to leave my comfort zone. I'm going to say that I was forced to leave my comfort zone.
You know,
Yeah.
you said a lot of things. With this your last response, and I would like just to highlight some of the things that you said. Of course, I couldn't get everything, but some things that you've shared that
Uh,
I think it would be good for us to
okay.
just narrow down on, right, and talk about. I remember
Yeah.
you said, because I asked you about your self-discovery process, and you said that for you, when you started listening to Dr. Sunday 2017, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2017 you mentioned,
Uh-huh.
for you, it wasn't an intentional act. It was just a process that was happening, you know, subconsciously, maybe haphazardly. You were not intentional about really, you know, discovering
Yeah.
yourself, you know. But then a crisis struck, you know, and that brought you to a place where you had to now intentionally go through the process of self-discovery, you know, to discover yourself and to discover your purpose.
Uh-huh.
So now you've had the experience. You know, Dr. Sunday always says, and he has taught us this thing, that uh, you know, people hardly learn in the place of comfort. I think we lost Vic. All right, we have to get her back. All right. So while we try to get Victoria back, I'm hoping we get her back as soon as possible. But I remember that Dr. Sunday was saying that people don't. I mean, people, and not just people, but us generally, we don't learn in the place of comfort. When things are okay, right, everything is going on well, and people are telling us, hey, you need to learn this thing. I'm telling you this truth, you need this truth, you need that truth. We're like, no, we're fine, everything is okay, everything is fine. But he says, we only learn through pain. When pain comes, then we learn and we change. So people change when there is pain. And then when there is shock, so the shock factor brings change to people. You know, you can be telling somebody to change. You can be telling someone, hey, the way you are eating, diabetes is coming, or the way you are growing fast, it's going to affect your health. So the person is saying, okay, I beg, let me be eating my McDonald's, let me be eating my KFC. So the person is eating and getting fat. Until one day, the person just wakes up and feels, I can't breathe well. There's this, you know, congestion in my chest, and then the person goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, hey, you have just 2 more months to live. The only way you can extend your life, is if you go to that gym and lose that weight and stop eating all those junks. I'm sure that your guess is as good as mine. That person will go to that gym that the person never went to. The person will stop eating that food that the person was saying he could not eat because of shock. So the person got shocked that, hey, I just have 2 months left to live if I don't fix my issue. So that is just the reality of life. We don't live intentionally, and we don't want to change until, you know, pain comes. You know, pain makes us to change. It pushes us to change, and shock also does that. You know, and that is pretty much your own story, and that's what you've shared with us. That you were listening, but there was no real intentionality. I mean, you were just comfortable. I mean, Dr. Sunday is preaching a good message, and that's like what happens to most people, you know. Most people are like, good message, sound. They will share. They will say, thank you, DSA. Wonderful message. Wonderful message, amazing message. You know, but they're not changing, you know. They're not working on themselves at all, you know, until when a crisis struck or when a pain comes. And that's a very good lesson that I think you are trying to communicate with us, you know, that we shouldn't wait for pain to teach us. Or maybe that's not your lesson. Can you tell us why it is important for us to learn and be ready to change and not wait for pain and not wait for crisis to eat us? You have had the experience yourself that it was crisis and it was pain that made you change and that made you learn and made you intentional. So what would you say, going through this journey, should people wait till pain comes? Should people wait till crisis struck before they change? Over to you.
Okay.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
I don't think anybody has to wait. Oh, sorry. Can you hear
Hello?
me now?
Okay, yeah, good. Yes, good now.
Can you hear me?
Very good, very good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was saying. Okay. So I was saying that I'm not going to say that anybody has to wait for the pain to come, before they go through that process of change. Because even for me, even when it happened for me, I still had a choice. When I say I had a choice, I still had a choice to, I was like at a crossroad. What I had to do was drop one of my mindsets. I had to, okay, am I going to follow the world now, or am I going to follow the kingdom? You know, this my comfort zone. This my future I can see right now is like very clear for me, and it's very predictable. Am I ready to, move to that unpredictable future and trust God? So that was like what it was for me. But that decision would have been much more easier if I was intentional, if I didn't wait for that pain to come. Waiting for the pain to come, it was very, very traumatizing for me. And even till now, there are some days when I just like wake up and I'm like, oh my God, this should not have happened. Or I begin to feel so down and, downcast. Of course, I'm quick to, wake up and remind myself again, like, okay, you have to focus on the future. This is the decision you've made. But what's going through that pain, um, life can be destroyed because a lot of times you may go through um you may go through something and you may not survive it, you know, and not just you, you can end up, destroying other people too. If you're not going to change, if you're saying the right thing and you don't want to do it, you may destroy other people, you may destroy yourself, and you know, people around you, family members. I mean, I don't think it's not a life to live. It's not a life to live at all, waiting for that pain to come. Because you now like have to learn the hard way. You have to learn, you're not like forced to go through that um change that you were so afraid of, compared to when you actually made the decision to go through it by yourself. So I'm not really going to advise anybody to wait for that crisis to strike, for them to do the right thing, discover themselves and just, find their purpose and start living their purpose. Yeah, I'm not going to advise anybody to wait for that. I'm not.
Because going through
Yeah.
your journey, can you hear now? Going through your journey, I strongly believe that.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear. Beautiful. Yeah. So uh, I am of the opinion that it's either you learn yourself and you change. Dr. Sunday uses this analogy that there is the intentional change that you make yourself, right? You go through that change yourself, and of course it will cost some pain, but it will be maybe 1 gram, right? 1 gram of pain. So the pain that you
Minimal.
that you go through yourself, and you go through it because you want to change, it might be just 1 gram. There's still pain, but there is another kind of pain, and that's the consequential kind of pain. And that one is not 1 gram this time. It's like 1 ton. And that is the pain that would force you. Now this one, this one it's not like you have a choice. The very first one, which is the intentional change and the self pain that you inflict on yourself for change. That's just 1 gram. That is very light. But the consequential pain and the one that comes because you've already made mistakes and made different, choices that were wrong, that is like 1 ton of pain. So now you have the choice to make. Should I go for the 1 gram pain that I have to inflict on myself, to either to study, what, because we're talking about the whole self-discovery journey. So should I just pay that price, pay
Yes.
that pain, and really sit down, take all these series, take all these teachings, and work on myself. Sometimes I might have to even go into solitude, but lock myself, refine myself, build myself. It's going to be painful. It's going to cost you some things, but you are ready to still pay the price. At least you are paying the 1 gram pain, the 1 gram. That is definitely, in my opinion, better than the 1 ton of pain that comes with consequences. But the interesting thing is that as simple as this analogy is, we don't get it. That is a very funny part. We don't get it.
No, no, for real. No, see, okay, you don't get it. And, but another thing that I think happens with pain is that I'm going to say that pain, from what I learned from Pastor Sunday and from my own personal experience, pain is like God's reminder.
Yeah.
I think when you get to go through crisis, it means God really loves you, because He's trying all He can, to wake you up, to bring you back. Like, you can also like have it all smooth, at least to your level of understanding. But there's something that comes with why my own pain was different was that something was happening to me, and I knew that I deserved better as a child of God. I knew that I deserved, better with my whole level of understanding. So, but that pain was just like a wake up call for me. I didn't really understand everything. And one thing that he actually built up in me was empathy. You know, I can't really say for a fact that I was very much of an empathetic person before that thing happened to me. Not like I wasn't kind or I kind of like looked down on people in their times of, but I was not really like able to understand people. understand I was not able to understand people. Okay, like I believe so much in the law of cause and effect, and to a reasonable extent, I can say that I'm a very realistic person. So, like, and that was one of the reasons why I was able to work on myself after that pain, because I had to apply that same love to myself, that same law of cause and effect. Like, okay, this has happened to you, that means you caused it. And what caused it was because you were blocked here. So I had to speak that truth to myself. I was not ready to blame other people around me, you know. Of course, I still was blaming a bit, but the major responsibility came back to my shoulders, because then when somebody comes up to me and say, "Oh my God, look what just happened to me," I'm not going to like say it out to them, but in my mind I'll be like, "But you should not. You should have known. Like you should have known better. Didn't you know that you're not supposed to go that route?" Like I mean, um, okay, let's take for example, somebody comes up and say, "Oh my God, my husband beats me up. He has been beating me up for 5 years or 10 years. What am I going to? If I'm going to like be empathetic towards them, but that thing in my heart be telling me like, I mean, but you caused this for yourself. The first day he hit you, you should have carried your things and you should have left. So I'm not like able to relate with people's problems. When they're going through it. Maybe because um, even if I was from a regular home, and of course in my family we had our own little ups and downs. I didn't really like have it really rough. As in, when I say rough, I had it rough, but not as rough as a lot of people had to go through. I've not Okay, for example, I can say that I've not really lost a loved one. Not even my grandparents. I've not lost any, like I've not experienced grieving, lost any member of my family or lost any, so a lot of times when people come up with stories that I can't really relate with, but what that pain actually did to me was it kind of like, yeah, now you can see that even sometimes when you know better, you just want to like um you just need that experience. You just need to understand people when they speak, and stop being judgmental, stop throwing the stones at them. You have to try to understand people, especially when they're going through some trials and some challenges. So that was what that one major lesson I learned from that's my problem. Have
Okay.
to be more empathetic and yes, yes,
I'm
that was
I,
one
I'm
key
just
thing.
I'm thinking our viewers might be listening to you, and you've mentioned pain, crisis, and all of that, and I'm sure they might be thinking, what is the crisis? I don't know if you're interested in sharing it. You don't have to, you know, but if you want to share,
Yeah,
you can. But if
well,
not, we can move.
yeah, I think I'm going to share my crisis and the journey on a very much later date. Like
Okay,
I'm going to come up like that's like going to be the whole topic. Like I can't even start now because it's not going to end
I got it.
because it's a very big one.
Got
So
it.
there just has to be a video dedicated
A different day.
for me to share. But the least I can say about that is that yes, what I can say about it, on a lighter note,
Yeah.
is that my crisis was as a result of me not understanding myself, you know, not understanding myself, not having knowing my and embracing my identity to know what is best for me. So, for example, I'm going to use this example like, okay, now I know that I'm called um, to fashion designing, I'm called to early childhood education. So imagine somebody forcing me to go and farm, go and do manual labor, or somebody trying to make me do computer coding, or something that is not
Friend. Yeah.
that is not in my DNA, something that is not, yeah, that's so different. So like the crisis came as a result of me not wanting to embrace myself, discover my identity and my purpose. And I was very stubborn about it, but you know, because I was stubborn about it, getting into that kind of environment where something was happening to me that was directly opposite to who I was. It was so painful. It was so painful to me because this was something that was not supposed to be happening to me at all, because this is not who I am, and it didn't have anything to do with my person and what God has created me to be. So I can just say like for example, being forced into a career that you're not really prepared for, or yeah, something close to that. Like, so that's what I can say, like on a lighter note. But on a much better and later days, I'm going to share further about that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that part. Um, of course, some of the things that you've shared, I think people can relate with it. Having having to go into a career that you regret every
Mm-hmm.
minute, every hour. You know, people say
Day,
thank God
yeah.
it's Friday for a reason. People say thank God it's Friday for a reason, because Monday to Friday has been hell for them, trust me.
Yes.
So when Friday comes, they're like, hey,
Yeah.
thank God it's Friday, because at least I have the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to just at least get out of that hell and have a better experience, and then go back on Monday,
Yes.
you know. So
Yes.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
difference,
yeah. Speak, please.
yes. But the difference between me, yeah, the difference between me and those people is that I just knew who I was. Like it had happened to me in my subconscious already. So it would have been different if I was just normal. When I keep using the word, I'm making hammering on the word normal. If I was the normal person without the knowledge, if I was ignorant of myself, and self discovery had not happened to me, even if it was not intentional. Okay, what happens is that you just know better. So I can be going to work and saying thank God it's Friday because I don't know any better, and that's what every other person is doing. So seeing what every other person is doing, I believe I'm normal and I'm doing the right thing. But knowing that I shouldn't be here, so every day you wake up and you go to that work and you know you shouldn't be there. So it can be so depressing. It can kill. I mean, it can be so traumatizing for you because you know that you shouldn't be in that job. You shouldn't be in that place is not for you at all, because you now know. So there's a difference between you living your life from a place of ignorance than living your life from a place of DSA. DSA had put it in you. He had planted those seeds. In as much as I wasn't very much intentional, but I'd read some books, I'd listened to tons of his messages. So I now know, and because I now know, I was trying to force myself into an environment, into a place, and into something that was not for me. But I knew better, and it would have been much more worse. But I just had to like tell myself the truth. Like, am I going to pretend like I'm ignorant and stay here? Oh, because I don't want to disappoint a lot of people, because people have this opinion of how I'm supposed to live my life. Thinking about my parents, the sacrifices they've made for me, thinking about my siblings, thinking about my friends. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? But I just knew that at the end of the day, it's my own life, and God has created me, and He's the only person that I actually owe that to. I actually owe my life to Him, and not to those people. In as much as I love them, I don't owe them. Yeah. In as much as I love my comfort, I can't be in my comfort. Yeah. So that was it for me. I just had to wake up because I was not ignorant anymore. I knew better.
Fantastic, fantastic. The other question I wanted to ask you, because looking at your own situation, because there are a lot of motivational speakers who talk about identity crisis, why you must discover yourself, and all of that. Do you think that there are people like you also in Nigeria, or maybe beyond? Let's start with Nigeria. Do you think this identity crisis, as people describe it, or not having a full awareness of who you are, your purpose, do you think it's a problem? It's a problem in Nigeria, amongst at least young people, youth, and all of that.
Oh, identity crisis in Nigeria, from my own perspective and from my experience and from what I can see, is normal. I don't know if you cook, eh? Like, if you're someone that actually cooks, let's say you're trying to pick beans, before, yeah,
Big
trying
beans.
to pick beans before, yeah, before cooking it. Yeah, I don't know. There's especially the beans I buy here in Lagos. So you have to see some corn. You see some corn and you see some stones. There's no way you won't see corn inside beans. I don't know. It's just like that here, because of course you're not taught to. The market is like that. So I can say that little quantity of corn or stones that you pick from that beans, they're like the people that I can say in Nigeria that actually have a sense of themselves and a sense of identity. And the rest of those beings are just alike. So they are just like alike, and they are the ones that get to be cooked, and they are the ones that get to be put in the pot and spiced up, because they are normal, and that's the environment. That's the norm. That we want to eat the beans. We don't want to eat the stone and the corn. So that handful of those things you get to pick out of the beans are the percentage of people that I can say have discovered themselves. And the same way, you have to trash those things or treat those things as, you don't value them, because that's not what you want. That's the way people that get to discover themselves are being treated. That's the way the society sees them, because you're so odd now, and you're not wanting to be normal. And when you're not wanting to be normal, you get a lot of criticism, you get a lot of attack, you get a lot of misunderstanding. People misjudge you, people misunderstand you because you're not like them. So identity crisis, yeah, they have no idea that they actually think that you would have discovered yourself is the person going through identity crisis, because you just can't come to someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's just the paradox of it all. Because you can't just come to someone or come to a place. Imagine coming to a congregation now and telling them that you guys, you're not Christians.
Yeah.
Because you're not Christians yet, because you're not messengers of the kingdom. You know, of course they will really stone you or take you, they'll send their the ushers will drag you away, and just like that beast, like I said, when they'll pick out those things and throw them out. So that's what I'm talking about. Identity crisis is not something that even motivational speakers can cure. Maybe I don't know. I've not even seen anybody addressing it, but it's not something that they can cure. It's the whole value system. People in Nigeria don't have the majority of people in Nigeria, like maybe 99 or 98% of people are living in delusion. Like they don't know who they are. They don't understand this concept I'm talking about. And that's why it will be so easy for them to stone Pastor Sunday. It will be so easy for them to reject him because they cannot comprehend. I mean, we've been raised like this. This is how. That's even myself. It was difficult for me, even if I had the open heart and the open mind to receive what Pastor Sunday was saying, because I was always very curious as a young person. So I could relate and I could accept it, but the average person, they don't want to hear about it because this is the way we've been brought up. We've brought up with this level of this value system. There's a roadmap already for you, and that roadmap is just a place that leads to nowhere. And the majority are going there. So when you're going somewhere different, you are the one that has the identity crisis. You are the one
You are
that
the
has
black sheep.
identity crisis.
You are the black sheep.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. But it's a
yes.
tragedy. It is really, I think it's a tragedy. And
Yeah, it is.
it is really a tragedy. But I'm going to come back to asking you about what, you've been able to convert this. What your passion now. What are you passionate about? What have you discovered to be your purpose? What have you discovered to be your calling? Um, so, well, I'm going to get
Okay.
to that point, all right? But before I get to that, the topic of today's discussion, and I know we've been talking about this already, but it is DSA's teaching was my path to freedom, and I think you already have started, telling us about
Uh-huh.
this freedom. But now I want you to be more concrete, if you may, to tell us
Yeah.
some of the teachings you listen to. So tell us the title of the teachings. Maybe it's a series that you listen to. So, okay, I listened to this series and
Okay.
it's delivered me or set me free from this bondage. Because, of course, for there to be freedom, it means there was some sort of bondage
Okay.
or
Okay.
slavery. So, can you highlight for us some of those teachings and some of those
Yeah,
series you
absolutely.
listened
Yeah.
to, and then describe to us what bondage you were in and then the freedom you got by listening to those teachings? Over to you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The first one I'm going to start um from the paganism series. So that was like where it all started for me. You know, Listening to that series for me kind of like exposed and made me aware of the things that was happening to what the things that were going on in the Nigerian church that was not of God. And when um those things were when I was listening to that series, it was just like a confirmation, like, hey, yes, I used to think about this. But I used to like snap myself out, like, no, don't think about it. If it's coming from a big man of God, then you shouldn't think about it. So I got my deliverance from religion, from the Nigerian kind of Christianity by listening to the paganism in the African church and the plague of silence. Yes, the plague of silence was this for me. And then another series I followed was the Purpose and Calling series. Yeah, so the Purpose and Calling series kind of like exposed me to the fact that I have an identity and I was born for a purpose. I was not a mistake. Like it just exposed me to the this was all this series and teachings were before I actually discovered myself or before I made the decision. I'd followed all these teachings already. So what happened was I was actually selecting. So when listening to Pastor Sunday, I select the ones that are convenient for me. Like, okay, I want to follow this series now. This one is so much. I
That was
when
your
no,
tactics,
Pastor Sunday, you
right?
are going too far.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Got it.
that was my tactic. So I was very selective. Like, okay, I'm going to take this one. Pastor Sunday, no, this one is not for me. You know, go and teach other people. Go and teach your people in Ukraine. You can't come and tell me that you can't tell me this one. This is not how I want to live, please. So I was selecting the one that was easy. Like it was very easy for me to leave the church because I'm a very bold person. So leaving the church for me, I've always been a rebel, you know, when in my family because I mean when I broke out of the Catholic church, it was a and I was still very young, I was 14. And I was telling my parents they are very staunch Catholic till date. And coming out of the Catholic church, it's a very big thing, especially in Nigeria here, because I mean we hold our faith. Catholic, Catholics hold their faith. Their faith is like God, like those their doctrines, the rosary, those things. So you're coming to break out of it at 14. That means I was just a very bold person. And because I was actually looking for more, I knew that, I mean, I couldn't, when I was asking some questions and nobody was answering me, I wanted to know, okay, why this doctrine? Why do we have so much reference to Mary? Why do we have all this? And they were not answering me. I had to leave, and it was a very tough battle of over 2 years. But I was so putting my feet on the floor. I said, no, Adeboye is the one that has found God. Adeboye and the Pentecostalism is the way for me to serve God. So I have to go to God through Adeboye. So coming out of church, the general church, it was easy because I've gone through that process before. So I just simply had to do it the same way I did it. Like I broke out, like, she has gone. I mean, of course, my pastors were calling me and all that, but I was out and it was not difficult for me. So I was able to pick that lesson. I was able to take that part because it was very convenient. So, but when it came to my calling, yeah, I just enjoyed the identity thing that Pastor Sunday exposed me to, but I was still not ready to take the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I was aware now that I was special and God created me for a purpose, and I'm a kingdom child. I was aware of a lot of things that my background was as a so I enjoyed those parts, but I was not ready to accept the call or to search myself for the calling. So I just kind of like picked calling. When I say picked calling, I just this is going to be my calling. So I didn't so I didn't like search within. I just yes, I just told myself that okay, Victoria, what's going to be your calling now? And I told myself, okay, this is going to be my calling, and I just took it because it was something that would be very much easy for me. I'm not going to get critics. I'm not going to get people fighting me. It was a very sweet calling, so I took that one as my calling.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then
Which other
that
series?
was the same with me too. Another series I listened to was another series I listened to was DSA Family Series. So his family series, I paid of course a lot of ladies will pay attention to the one he was addressing ladies, a lady self sufficiency before. I don't think any young lady will not go and follow that series because it's a very sweet series. Like you just go there and you're really in fact if you after listening to that series as a lady, as a young woman, you fall in love with Pastor Sunday. Like when I say fall in love, not the erotic way, but you be like, oh my god, this man is so sound. So you really like that series because Pastor Sunday, you know, Pastor Sunday is unraveling the girls, and he's speaking, what we can't, what we have in our hearts, but we cannot really like say for ourselves. So Pastor Sunday is exposing women and the world, to that to understanding women. So I was really a very big fan of that lady self-sufficiency before marriage. But at the same time, like I said, I was still selecting. So the ones that I think are too big for me, or okay, there are some parts of Pastor Sunday's teachings I'm going to listen to, and I'll be like, oh, Pastor Sunday, if you go this way, there's no way we're going to say husband do. Like, I can't even go this way you're telling me. If I go like this, I'm going to die. I'm going to die an old maid or a spinster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so your standard is too much. So yeah, so but that series for me. So I was just like selecting, I had the open mind, I had the free spirit, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just very selective. Like, yeah, Pastor is making a lot of points, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. So I was very stubborn. Like, this one is your own. I'm going to take this one. Pastor is another people should go and do this ones they are talking about. So when it came to that the family series, I selected and I picked and I said, okay, these are the things I want. Yeah, it's good for the man for the men to understand how to treat ladies and all that. But the men that we have today, Pastor Sunday, if you go like this, let's just manage it. As in, let's just compromise. Let's just let's paint it, somehow.
Did it set you free from anything?
Yeah, it did. That's where I'm coming from. Yeah, it set me free a lot. Like even to a level where I didn't understand. So my self esteem so the first thing that happened was that my self esteem as a lady came up. So since my self esteem as a lady came up, and also at that point where I was listening to that series, I had just come out of a relationship, and then I was still in that process of like, questioning myself and all that. So that's just like, supported me, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, this makes a whole lot of sense. But listening to that series, my self-esteem came up as a lady, so to a reasonable extent, I knew who I was and what
Yeah,
I deserved as a young
lady.
girl, what I
Mm-hmm.
deserved as a woman, how people should treat me, you know, um, yeah. And when it came to the self-sufficiency, I kind of like put the emotional maturity aside. I put the spiritual maturity aside. For me, self-sufficiency was about, okay, are you able to meet your basic needs or your basic financial needs without depending on anyone? So those ones that are easy, because you can't tell a person to be emotionally sufficient. It's a very big work to be emotionally sufficient, because it's so internal. Like, it's a lot of work. It's not, because it's not a physical work. I mean, as a human being, when somebody asks you to go and be financially sufficient, you know what to do. You just have to go out there, get work. But when you are asking somebody to be emotionally or spiritually sufficient, you can't, it's not tangible. So you can't understand it. You can't, a lot of times you have a lot of demons, both as men and women. We have a lot of internal things that we don't want to address. So I didn't really understand a lot what Pastor Sunday was trying to what Pastor Sunday was trying to teach. When it comes to that emotional maturity or the spiritual maturity. So I was just like picking the ones I can do. I do them. The ones I can't
But
do. I was
that's
not ready to be emotionally mature. Yeah,
but that's interesting though.
I was not ready. So Pastor Sunday cannot tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Sunday cannot tell you.
I was not ready to be emotionally mature. You cannot tell me to go and be emotionally mature. Like, what's it even talking about? Like, what does that even mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like the fact that I can just be myself. This is me. If you don't want to take me for who I am, just get out. That kind of attitude. Like, no, I don't think I want to be. I want to manage my emotions. This is who I am. When it gets me angry, you get the outburst. And when you keep me happy, I'm happy. So I don't want to work on my emotions. I don't want to work on myself, on my person. I want to just be impulsive. I want to just be, please, just take me, just, this is me now. So how can you, so it was, yeah, take me as I am. You can't tell me that. Like, yeah, I've gone through a lot of things, and please, I'm not ready to work on myself. I'm not ready to, and spiritual maturity too. I mean, yeah, I'm a child of God,
Yeah.
and I know what is good and what is not good. Yeah, so I'm not ready to have that relationship with God like that, you know. But I just know that, just the same way I've been raised, in the Christian setting, to know that you should not steal. As a woman, you should keep your virtue. Don't sleep with men before marriage. Those easy ones for me. That was spiritual maturity for me. So telling me to go on service and try to understand God or read the Bible, and Pastor Sunday will tell me that in a verse of the Bible is it's possible for somebody to pick a lot of. I'm like, please, how many verses are in the Bible? Pastor Sunday just like I couldn't relate a lot with the things he was saying. So I was just picking what I wanted to pick. from his teachings and I was going. But after my crisis
That was the
happened,
normal you,
but
right?
because
That was the normal you. That was the
yes,
usual you. But
yes, that was the normal
when you
me.
started listening to his message,
Yes.
did it change anything? Did it change you? Did it change that all of those things you just described, or it continued like that?
Yeah, it did change me.
Ah,
It did change me. Even if I was not even if I was not aware it was changing me. It was actually changing me. But like I said, after I now made the decision to go back and understand Pastor Sunday and understand his teaching. So the first series I went for was because I remember that fateful day, I was so lost and I mean so I went to the YouTube and I the first thing that I picked was the thinking series. So I picked the thinking series and picking the thinking series, I was on it for like 2 or 3 weeks.
hmm.
So it just helped me to understand that okay, that the reason why I was actually rejecting these messages was because I didn't know that there was something wrong with my thinking. I didn't know
Uh-huh.
that one had to be intentional, yeah, about their thinking. I didn't know those things. Like I didn't know that I was supposed to be intentional about my thinking and that things has actually like influenced how I behave, how I think. So the thinking series like just opened up my heart and prepared me, for the other messages that came. So the second message I went to listen to was the love series. So after the thinking series was just it for me because then I was now seeing myself in all angles. Like I was seeing myself like, oh, okay, this is it. I could now relate to myself on a much more deeper level. Like, oh my God, so this is who I am. This is why I'm like this. You know, I can say that that book for me was like this Tim Laya is it Lahaya that wrote Why You Act the Way You Do or so, something like that. So that was how that thinking series was for me. Like, so I'm thinking like this because of my environment. I'm thinking like this because there has been a conditioning. I'm thinking like this because, so, embracing that thinking series, I now went back to my calling and purpose series. I went back to, you know, yeah. So I was now very much receptive, and that was the beginning of my life. Yeah,
So you would
that was
that
my
means you're going
beginning
to
of the
advise
journey.
people to, because based on what you're saying that um
Uh-huh.
until people really I until people get to listen to the thinking series and start questioning why they think the way they
Uh-huh.
do, what informs their thinking, what creates their
Yes.
perspectives, their worldview.
Yes.
They can be listening to all of Dr. Sunday's teachings, but they will not be able to change and they will not be able to understand what he's saying because they've not yet worked on their thinking and how they think.
Yes.
So that was so when you listen
Yeah.
to the thinking series, it kind of just opened your eyes to just realize that even though I was listening to all of these series, calling and purpose, brainwashing, syncretism, it was not doing anything in me, because I had not yet
Uh-huh.
fixed my thinking. Wow, that is powerful.
Yes.
That is powerful. But people might be asking, how did you
Yes.
get all these series? Where are they? How did you get them? How did you get this series?
Yeah, the thinking series is on Pastor Sunday's. Yeah, they're on his YouTube. Pastor Sunday's YouTube, you know, um um yeah, his YouTube channel, Dr. Sunday Adelaja Official. So I just went there and I started listening to those series. So those series kind of like just opened me up. Like I was like maybe like I was in a board or something. So it just like opened
In
me up
series, right?
to face myself.
You are listening to them in series.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So yes. So it opened me up, and the first thing that hit me hard was the fact that I was a shallow thinker.
Ooh.
Like I'm so shallow. Like I'm such a shallow person, and because I was very shallow, that was why I thought that I was not thinking. I was just like I don't know. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say that when you're not thinking, when you're actually shallow, you're not different from a mannequin. Like when I say mannequin, like a standing doll, like you're just there, people can see you, they can see they can see your physical self, they can see who you are. Okay, oh, she's big. Oh, yeah, they
Your
can see.
figure, you look like a
Yes, but
human
you're not
being.
thinking, but you're not. Yes, but you're just biomass. Like, oh my God, like what that was for me was a very strong one. Like, I can't believe this. Like, I've been very shallow, like very shallow minded, and I was living my life to impress people. I was still living from external. I was still living from the external instead of from within. I was living from without. Like, I've not, brought myself to that level of understanding that, Pastor Sunday is 50, or 50 is 50 and older. So when somebody is much older than you, when you're listening, I've not understood that when you're listening to someone, you have to go research them. You have to go and read about them. You have to understand, go and read Pastor Sunday's achievements. Go and read his biography. Go and go and ask about the person that's talking to you. So when you've done that, and Pastor Sunday is telling you that with my 30 years in ministry, I have seen these things, and I'm telling you that as a lady, you need to know these things and you need to embrace these things before marriage. You need to go and do that. And the person is telling you that you need to discover yourself and your calling. It's because he has actually, both from his, not just from his own personal experience, but from, if not millions of experiences of people that he has interacted with, years of solitude, years of self education, years of relationship with God, interaction with God, years of changing thousands of lives and using the same principles he's sharing. So if he's talking, you should actually like go and sit back and go and ask yourself, what are you going to do with what he's saying? And if it even means for you to take 6 months to actually process one of his videos or process one of his series, do that. Go and understand what Pastor Sunday is trying to say. Don't say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. So that's just the height of shallow, it's just the height of shallow mindedness and living like a dummy. I'm saying it from my own personal point of, and that's the level to which I have told myself the truth. Like, I remember looking at my pictures and looking myself in the mirror, I'm like, I mean, look at yourself. Like, what happened to you? What were you using your brain? Like, you have to go and take out those mind. You have to work on your mindset. You have to change your whole. You have to be willing to change your whole paradigm where you're coming from. You need to know that you need to understand yourself on a deeper level. Study your environment. Know why you're thinking the way you're thinking. Why you're behaving the way you're behaving. Is it because of the way you were raised, or what you saw your parents do, and those things? And then you now have to like understand where Pastor Sunday is coming from. And one way I think that anybody can start from is just to start by changing their thinking. You just have to start by changing your thinking, because if you don't do that, I don't know if there's anyone that is listening to Pastor Sunday but I've not listened to the thinking series. You may just be like me without even knowing, because at that time I didn't know. I didn't know. So you will think that you're getting it, but you're not getting it until you go and listen to that thinking series to see where you're not thinking okay as a human being. Yeah,
That is
that's what I can
powerful.
say. So that was it for me.
That is powerful. So thinking series did it for you. Amazing. So let's just change gear right
Yes,
now.
it did it.
Thank you so much for taking us on that journey. Journey from the normal, right? What you describe as the normal way, normal life. Just let's just say the mundane kind of life. And that anyone who listens to Dr. Sunday, or at least there's some vocabularies that you would add to yourself. Vocabularies like mundane, like biomass, like conversion, many of his vocabularies. So let's just say the kind of life you were living was just a mundane kind of life, just living for no trivialities. But now you went through the process yourself, you listened to the thinking series, it opened your eyes to see the way you were thinking. You were able to change your mindset, change your worldview, and all of that. Now, let us into your world now. All right. Tell us about what you've discovered now yourself to who you've discovered yourself to be. Maybe in a summarized version, communicate to us your passion and your vision and what you want to do now that you've come to discover yourself to a greater level. So just help us to see some of the fruits of all those processes that you went through.
Okay, yeah. I discovered myself to see that um, I'm actually called to other young women and to other young ladies in Nigeria and in Africa here who are actually still thinking like I was thinking, and if not worse, like when I say thinking like I was thinking, not knowing themselves, not understanding their purpose, you know, not understanding their own identity, so I just think that there should be more of us. There should be more ladies waking up, because when you think about it, and when you go through the Nigerian setting, and you look at the women and you look at the young girls, you get to see that something is actually not right with women and girls in Nigeria and Africa, because I just have the understanding from my study and from my research that there's actually like a conditioning that happens to young women. Now, this is like generally like both the men and women are actually conditioned to follow like a roadmap, but for the women, it's actually on a deeper level. For the girls, it's actually like the condition is actually like a deeper, it's on a deeper level, um because now not only are they not discovering themselves, somehow they kind of like have this false notion of themselves that they are not enough, or they are not a complete human. Now, what do I mean by that? you know it's very difficult for you to see a Nigerian young lady or a Nigerian girl who sees themselves as complete without marriage. you know Not getting married, it's a very big deal for Nigerian girls. Like, it's something that they can't even think about. Like they can stay without not getting married. And not getting married, I'm not saying that marriage is not something to be celebrated, or marriage is not a wonderful union that people should actually look up to. But placing that marriage before your purpose, and like above your purpose, like that's like the first thing you think about, and that's the first thing you work towards as a young lady. I believe that there's something wrong with that, because it just so happens that you just kind of like take your life, and you give it out, you give out your life to someone, to go manage, and do whatever they want to do with you. Or you give your life to a set of people, maybe the man and his family, or maybe the man, and you have no idea what's happening to you. You've not discovered yourself. You don't know what you are. You don't know what is best for you. You don't know who you are. So then you kind of like thinking that marriage is just it for me. And that was how I was thinking. That was how I was thinking too, that okay, yeah, when you get to 25 or 26, you have to go settle down, wear the marriage dress, do their schedule, and get married and start having babies. You're not understanding your purpose, you're not understanding yourself. And it happens to be a very huge problem, because now when you don't really understand yourself as a woman, you don't even know what kind of man you can blend with, or you don't even know which man is right for you, because you don't even know what is right for yourself. You don't know who you are. You've not really like explored yourself. You've not explored the world. You've not explored your purpose. You've not started living. So you're just like a dummy. like a lot of women are going through this now without knowing what is happening to them. So you see a lot of Nigerian women that are not happy in their marriages, even the men too. Like you see a lot of frustrated people inside marriages because the society has taught us to think that this roadmap is just a like after your school, get a job. Once you think you're comfortable to take care of your family. In fact, a lot of people don't even think that they have to be comfortable to take care of your family. Like marriage and children is just the ultimate. Like just go and get married. Go and get married. Like your biological clock is ticking. Go and get married as a woman, and that's when you think you have an identity. Like that name change that happens after marriage for a woman in Nigeria. It's not just the name change. It's like you hear people say phrases like, oh, marriage is the happiest day of my life. Because that's like when you think, oh, I'm going now to start living. This is my what I'm born for. So marriage is the happiest day of your life because before marriage you were not happy, you were not whole, you didn't have any essence in yourself. Yeah, you didn't have an identity. So you're going to get married, and what do they kind of like meet inside that marriage? A lot of times people like kind of like they have the tendency to want to portray that they're actually happy. That's because they don't have an idea of what true happiness entails, or what happiness is all about, or what love is all about. So,
Wow.
but just because everybody is doing the same thing and this is what people say is the right thing, so they just go into that place, into that marriage as babies in the heart, even if they have actually grown up in their body. They go into that place as babies without knowing themselves, and so they kind of like they get suppressed inside that marriage, they get suppressed inside that environment because now you're not living with a man and you have to submit to that man and you have to do his bidding. So you just have to find a man that has potential. Like they say, okay, the man that has potential, but do you have potential? Who are you? What are you here for? You don't know those things. So you just go and marry the man and follow his leading. Where he's going, you're going there. You don't. So this women, even if they don't agree to the fact that they actually treat themselves as subhumans, so they believe that they are not complete on their own without men. So they don't understand what um, the real purpose of a woman and why God actually created Eve in the first place. So that's like my burden. Yeah, that's like my passion now. And I actually have the burden to correct that kind of mindset in young women, especially single ladies and teenagers, young girls that are yet to marry. And then for the ones that are already married, you go through the media every day. You're hearing lots of news, bad news that are happening. You're seeing women being abused, women being beaten up by their husbands, being raped, a lot of abuse happening here and there. So, those ones that feel like they are hopeless and they can't do it anymore. So at least they've gone in and they've seen that this is not for me, so they are now coming out. And so I believe I have that's my calling and my burden for that's
And
my purpose.
you have a body, so you have a burden for these women, you
Yes,
have a
I
burden
do.
for the young ladies, and that's powerful. So you are literally converting your own experiences. You're literally, how from one of Dr.
Yeah.
Sunday's teaching on how to discover your calling and your purpose, that your calling and your purpose is buried in
Uh-huh.
your past experiences. That's so powerful. And I
Uh-huh.
mean, being in Nigeria, I'm very certain that you have a lot of work to do in that area. You have a lot of people to really enlighten. Yeah, because I think it's something that maybe not even in Nigeria. I
Yes.
think just even across board. I think that's a definitely divine calling.
Yeah, yeah.
That to really help bring that enlightenment to the women, and that's very powerful. That's very powerful. But aside that, I don't know if you, aside from your calling and your direction towards women, is there any other thing that you have a passion for, a burden for, that you just quickly want to tell us before we round up?
Yeah, yeah, so that's just it for me, helping these ladies to understand that, hey, wake up, like you've been conditioned, like this is not who you are, like you just like in a land of perdition. You have to retrace your step, you have to come back, you have to discover yourself, you have to do something with your life. You need to understand your purpose and your calling, as a woman. Like it's just very important. Yeah, yeah. So that is it for me.
Powerful. I mean, even from the way you're speaking, you should definitely have platforms, have symposiums, have conferences. We ladies, I mean, just do stuff, and I'm sure that there will be people who are listening to us right now who would like to even form partnership with you. I just feel that right in our comment section, there might be people that will be saying, yes, what this lady is talking about is what I also have a burden for. I also have a passion for. And it would be definitely awesome if you could combine forces with people who also share the same burden, people who also share the same passion, and come up with innovative ways and
Yeah.
transformational ways to really address this issue in Nigeria and actually beyond. So that is amazing. But I'm going to come back to you for your final words right now. But before I do that, I would like to just speak to our viewers who are listening to us. Victoria, she laid so much emphasis on, and it's like the whole journey and the whole discussion today, we could bring it to we could say it is all revolving around one focal point. And the center point is self-discovery. Why you have to discover yourself. You have to answer the question, who am I? And also answer the question, why am I alive? Why am I here? But you see, why grow up in the dark when there is light already? I mean, why? Why should you just suffer when there is already an answer for you? And then you might be asking me, what is the answer? Well, Dr. Sunday actually designed a whole program. Victoria talked about the YouTube channel, but what you can see on your screen right now, this might be the best thing that would ever happen to you. This might be the best decision of your life. You will not have to even go through any pain anymore. See, you wouldn't have to even get to the point where a crisis would make you make that decision. If only you would this program here you can see on your screen, who am I, why am I alive, might be your lifesaver. It might be the thing that will just revolutionize your life for the rest of your life. And guess what? This mentorship course is available for anyone who is listening right now. All you need to do is just to go to mentorship@godembassy.org and write there that you want to take this course. Of course, it's a paid course, but the price is even nothing compared to the results that will happen in your life. Just listening to Vicky's testimony today, you would see that you have to discover yourself. You have to discover your purpose in life. And apart from this mentorship course, Dr. Sunday also has a millionaire's mentorship course too. For anyone who wants to, to be financially sufficient, anyone who wants to become a millionaire, this is the Millionaire Secrets Mentorship Group. And just the same way, if you want to join the mentorship group, this because it's a closed group actually, it's not out there. It's a closed mentorship group, one-on-one with Dr. Sunday, the Millionaire's Mentorship, and the Who Am I. So if you want to partake in these mentorship courses, just write to us at mentorship@godembassy.org, and we're going to help you, guide you through the process on what you need to do and how to register. Who am I? I'm sure Vicky, now you understand beyond, even if people don't understand why they need to take this course, you yourself now you can see why discovering who am I and why am I alive is very, 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 very important. But I want to leave you right now to share your final words, before we end. What will be your final words to our viewers? And if you have any It's to DSA himself, you could also share.
Okay, my final words to our viewers would be that you have to start from a point of truth. Like, if you really want to follow Pastor Sunday, you have to look in the mirror. Like, you have to you have to tell yourself the truth. You have to stop, because a lot of times we go through deeper levels of identity crisis because of that need to want to be important, that need to it's a human and natural need to want to be relevant in life. It's a natural need to want to make people see you in a certain light. you know it's not just it's not no you don't even have to be fake. When I say fake, maybe pretending to be, when people talk about fakery, a lot of times people see it as maybe you're pretending to be rich when you're not rich, but it goes beyond that. You have to go back to your past. You have to go back to your background. You have to go back, you know you have to evaluate yourself and tell yourself the truth and understand exactly where you are, and it is from there that you can know how to begin a process of changing your life. But you just have to speak the truth, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Just start from a place of truth to discover yourself. Because if you want to discover yourself, and even if you follow Pastor Sunday's mentorship program, Pastor Sunday does not know you. At least he only knows what you reveal about yourself. So you don't even have to reveal yourself to anyone. Go and tell your own self the truth, and when you begin telling yourself the truth, you discover that you have the courage to share your truth with the world. And you have the courage to now come to your Pastor Sunday, who is ever waiting at the back of his email to talk to you. But you have to tell yourself the truth, like, this is my condition, this is who I am, this is myself, this is my situation, this is my shallow mindedness. How do I come out? So when you begin to ask yourself the right questions from a level of truth, there's no effigy there. There's no need to impress anyone. There's no need to come on Facebook and say you discovered yourself. There's no need to make posts and do a lot of things to impress people. Go and impress yourself. Go and tell yourself the truth. And from that truth, you understand that truth is just like the place where you can start from to build your life, and that is where the freedom is. So DSA for me was my path to freedom, because he helped me to embrace myself on a deeper level, and I was able to battle different forms of low self-esteem. I was able to battle different forms of self-denial, self-pity, and all that. So you have to tell yourself the truth before you can be helped by any material of Pastor Sunday. If you're not ready to embrace the truth, then it will be a total waste of time. Even if you want to become a millionaire, if you don't tell yourself the truth that you only have 0.00 in your account, if you're still living in a delusion that, oh, maybe I have $1 million, you can start. There's a way you can lie to yourself and you forget the truth. Like, I have $1 million, somewhere, and if you don't tell yourself the truth, you can't do anything with Pastor. They cannot help you. So Pastor they can only help people that are ready for the change, people that have told themselves the truth. If you don't want to tell anyone else, tell yourself the truth. And you have to also open up to God. And if you still have the because when you start from yourself, you cannot open up to God, because God knows your truth, but He wants you to still tell you. He wants you to still acknowledge that this is my truth. Because people can even lie to God in prayer. Like, you go and you're farming when you're praying. You're praying for the wrong things. That was where I was. And that was why I couldn't pray when I was in RCCG. Because I was praying for the wrong things. Because I was in this shell. I was, always in that place where I didn't know I was just like a doll, just going. So when I'm even praying, I'm praying and I'm doing my worship on another, not understanding God. So you have to come like a baby, like a helpless child. Like, this is me. Where do I start from? How can I be helped? And once you reveal yourself to God, you can now open yourself. If you think, once you go through this two process, you'll be free to share yourself with people, and you can open up to Pastor Sunday. Like, how can you help me? Like,
Beautiful.
what can you do for me? This is my situation. You know, you don't have to paint stories because we are so fond of painting stories. Like when you ask somebody now, people can even come on this kind of programs and tell lies. People can come on this kind of program and think that they are here to impress, and they can come and, make up stories. You have to start from a place of truth. So that's like where I am. That's just my own advice to people.
It should be
Yeah.
the starting point. Truth should be the starting point. Amazing. And there's a
Yeah.
whole series on truth
Yes.
for our viewers who might not be aware. So that is from Miss Victoria Ann, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so very much for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your story. And I want to hope that people are blessed by it, and people have received encouragement from your own journey. And to our viewers who have been with us right from the beginning till this point in time, thank you very much. If you've not shared this video, I'd like to encourage you to please go ahead and share. Maybe there might be a lady out there, or maybe a guy out there, or someone who might find today's discussion relevant to them. Well, we're going to be back same time, and tomorrow 7 p.m. Kyiv time, 5 p.m. Nigerian time, UK time. We're continuing on the life transforming testimonies, or profiling people who have gone through interesting journeys and they have different testimonies that would be a source of blessing to us. Thank you for being with us. My name is Anu Ojo. Have a wonderful evening, and bye for now.